Hello and welcome to episode 0 of a new series. I've been feeling the itch recently in order to record a little more YouTube gameplay. I'm hoping I can get some done, hoping we'll be able to get a reasonable number of episodes out of this before I run out of poop. So let's go. Why is this episode 0? It's because we're going to set up a world we're going to play in Factorio, and we're going to look at some of the mods. Some of you are probably familiar with Factorio, some of you may not be. Game about automating a factory, which sounds really boring, but it's remarkably addictive. Essentially, you crash land on an alien planet, and sort of the set goal of the game is to launch a rocket ship into space. You can keep playing after that, and I may do for a bit, but for this game, for this gameplay, that's what we're going to aim for, because I've never actually done it myself. So, I'm not playing it completely vanilla. I'm putting in some mods, most of them just like quality of life mods, make the game a little easier to play, a little quicker, a little less boring. Like, what have we got? We've got Afraid of the Dark. That just makes it a little bit lighter. It turns my flashlight on at night and gives me like a little glow around my character. That means that you guys can see what's happening. Alien Biomes just makes the map look prettier. Auto deconstruct. If a mining unit has run out of resources, it automatically marks it for reconstruction, and if I have bots, they will pick them up automatically. Bottleneck shows you if a machine is being starved for input. This helps you balance your factory without having to do all the maths. Essentially, there'll be a little light on all my little factories, and if they're not getting anything, like if they're completely missing an ingredient, they'll show red. If they're not getting the ingredients fast enough, I think it shows yellow, and if everything's fine, it goes green. Even distribution lets you throw stuff into machines and inventories nice and easily. You can just control and click drag over an entire row of machines and it puts stuff in. Basically, it saves you having from individually clicking on each individual thing in order to put stuff in. Build for me. Now, this does make combat a little easier. What this does is if you put down a machine or a gun turret, it automatically puts some fuel and ammunition in. That does mean that you can use it for fighting the enemy a lot easier, because rather than having to put down a gun turret and then rapidly click some ammo in, it'll go down with some ammo in. So that does make fighting easier, but it helps if you're not particularly fast with the controls and not particularly accurate with stuff, which is sort of what I need. Lighted electric poles just adds lamps to the electric poles if you want. You have to pay for them. You have to pay for the resources for the lights, but it means that our factory will be brighter at night, and again, that's nicer for you guys watching. Module inserter. Now, I thought this was part of the vanilla game, so I'm not quite sure whether or not I need this mod. So, mass insert and remove modules. Basically, what I think this does is, in the vanilla game, if you have a blueprint and you put it down, then your bots will automatically put the modules in. I'll explain what modules are when we get to them in about episode 40, if we get that far. I think what this does is it gives you a tool that basically says, I want all of these machines to have productivity modules, drag a box over them, and then they will have the request to have productivity modules in them. Nanobots. So I've been talking about bots. In the vanilla game, later, about the mid-game, you start to be able to make these little flying robots which can build your factory for you. They will place items, pick them up, drop them off, do stuff like that. This adds a very early version of them, which is limited to just around where you're standing, where I'm standing. Never know which pronoun to use. Is it are we playing the game? Am I playing the game? If I'm explaining the rules, is it you that's playing the game? Not important. Yeah. So lots of people use this because it makes the early game a lot less clicky. Because like if you build your factory and you make a mistake and you have to manually pick everything up and then put everything down again, that's just slow. And you don't get these for free. You have to spend resources, quite a lot of resources, manufacturing the nanobots. Then basically you get a nanobot gun, and it uses like ammunition, so there's like a limited supply of them. Squeak through. This lets you walk between machinery which you might not otherwise be able to do. Like you can walk over pipes, you can walk in between steam engines, mining drills, chests, and stuff like that. And again, it just makes it easier to play. We're talking about, large industrial machinery, and you're like a little person or a little robot or whatever it is you are. And why can't you walk underneath a pipe or step over a pipe? And vehicle snap just makes it so when you are driving a vehicle, it limits the angles it can pick up. Oh, and I need to update the module insert. That's annoying. Date selected. Confirm. And now it's going to restart the game, because every time you change a mod, it has to reload the game. That's going to annoy mods in, because then the slowly. I'm using a different program to record this. I tried to use the program I normally use for recording YouTube videos, which was the Xtori, and it crashed every time I tried to use it with Factorio. So I'm using OBS, and I've programmed OBS with some audio filters and stuff, so hopefully my voice is coming through okay. Suppose we'll find out. And yeah. Right, so we're not going to continue. I was playing a game on my own with a lot of other mods that were they were changing the early recipes and making them not fun. So we're going to go for, as I said, it's not vanilla, but slightly more vanilla game. So we're going to go with a new game. Free play. This is your task is to launch a rocket into space. This is general how you play Factorio. Okay, map generator. We're going to go with a rail world. What this means is that the resources that, which you mine and use to manufacture everything are less frequent but larger patches. And what that does is that encourages you to build train tracks over greater distances, and it's just, a little more fun. Now, I think I want... I think I want like a little more water. I mean, I don't want islands, but if we turn the size of the water down, but increase the coverage. Let's do a preview and see what that gives us. That's not much in the way of water. Well, I suppose there. That's just like one large island. So there's a seed up here, so we'll randomize the seed. What if I if I keep the scale at 150, up the coverage 300%? Be a little more interesting. Very red. Well, this would force us to go this way, wouldn't it? Will it start generating resources? Yeah. Okay. I'm not entirely certain what the scale is on this. A little difficult to tell. That's maybe interesting. There's some sort of bodies of water, some inland seas, which we'll have to work our way around and take into account. And some bottlenecks to help us defend our starting base. Looks like this will be our starting area. We're going to have copper, iron, coal, and stone right nearby, and not too many enemies. Oil will be over here. Yeah, no. Okay, so we'll try and keep this. So enemy bases will be on, and I will keep that as the standard. Now, by default, in a rail world, enemy expansion's off. Now, what enemy expansion does is, every now and then, these red dots are the enemies. Every now and then, they will sort of form a colonizing party. They will go out, and there's sort of like certain places on the map where they're allowed to build a new base. They put down new homes to generate more enemies. We call them biters most of the time. By default, enemy expansion is off in a rail world, which means once you've cleared an area of biters, like, if I destroy these three enemy here, they'll never set up homes there. The ones over here might charge over and attack if they detect my presence, but they'll never come closer. And I'm completely undecided as to whether or not I want to turn that back on, because that might be a little too boring. I don't want to spend all my time fighting biters, because that's not what the game is about. But it does give you an incentive to develop technology, which you won't bother doing. You know, I mean, if you're never being attacked by the biters, then there's no reason to build the defenses and the lasers and all the fun stuff. I think I will turn this on, but what I will do is the minimum cooldown. This is like the time between enemy expansions being sent out. We'll get that up to an hour, and the maximum cooldown time will get that up to 3 hours. Because I'm watching Catherine Sky play through, and she's doing a very vanilla playthrough, like I am as well. And for ages, she was never being attacked. Now that she's really starting to expand her factory to the point that the pollution is pouring out into the world, she's now getting more and more attacks coming in. So this might be a nice compromise. They're not going to expand quickly, but they will expand, so I do have to set up some defenses. Advanced. Technology difficulty normal. Research queue. I want to be able to queue up research. Why is this the default? That only after the game is finished can you do the research queue? It's like, no, I want to, you know, I want to be able to tell it that I want to research five technologies ahead and just have it do it. You know, why do I have to keep clicking on it? So I think that's all I want to tweak here. Do mod settings. Most of this is, I don't think I need to do it. Compatibility mode, map changes. So basically, you can tweak everything. You know, like how the bottleneck mods and how all the different mods and everything work. But we'll leave that as is. Distribution. Yep, nope. Confirm that. And we will hit play. So that is the end of episode 0. Not very long. And I'll see you in the next episode.